So now I'm going to take my moderator hat off and invite Professor Van Kutsen to come up and to open this meeting officially, because we had, the previous was a satellite symposium. And then you'll see me back as the CEO. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yola. I'm Erik Van Kutsen. I'm Professor GI Oncology at the University of Leuven, Belgium, and I'm very happy to open this meeting and to say you a few words. I will come back later and talk on some scientific aspect and putting into perspective the personalized medicine. But I'm extremely grateful to Yola for what she's doing for Europacolon. This is the second patient conference, and the second conference on different aspects of colorectal cancer towards patients, the national groups, with help and with towards politicians and policymakers, because it's crucial also that this interaction is taking place, and I'm very happy for that to open this meeting. As Yola said already, or as you know, 2 years ago there was a first meeting that was held also here in Barcelona. It's always in the attached to the ESMO World Congress that is taking place. The ESMO World Congress is the biggest meeting in GI cancer worldwide that takes place every year here in Barcelona. And I have the privilege and the honor to chair that meeting also. And this meeting, I think, is extremely important. If you see at some of the potential impact of that, and that will be made clearer in later presentations, it is potentially very impactful on different aspects. The role and the advocacy and the making everybody aware, the population, the politicians, health policy makers, on the importance of colon cancer, on screening, on treatment, on access, equal access for everybody towards the different screening modalities, treatment options in this setting. And therefore this conference and this interaction is crucial. I'm also very happy that we have today also Mr. Petro Luhan, who's a member of European Parliament. And for those who are not yet aware, don't read the newspapers every day, he won also the award for at the European Parliament for health policy, meaning that he is very, very active in health policy in the European Parliament, and therefore it's also an honor for Europacolon to have Mr. Petro Luhan here amongst us, and he will address also to you and say some important aspects also. With that, that's all I want to say. Yola and also the whole team of Europacolon, again, thank you for everything you do for the patients, because they deserve it. And have a good meeting.
Thank you very much. So I'm back now as the CEO and the founder of Europacolon, and I think this is the moment I have to be very careful not to get emotional, because I'm getting there. I could not in a million years have thought that we would not just be having a second patient conference, but that we would be 25 groups, when in 2005 there was nothing. So the man who has been my mentor and my friend, and who has supported me from day one, never ever doubting me. He thinks I'm mad, and he has to put up with calls at midnight to say, I don't think so. But Erik Van Kutsen has stood by us, and behind the scenes, in his very quiet way, he has made sure that we've got to where we are today. So, I would like to make a round of applause for Erik, because he is very special. Now I've embarrassed him completely. I'll move on. Without the sponsors, we wouldn't be here, because they have helped us to put this on. And I'm not going to name each one because you can all read and you can see how generous and how lucky we have been to have so much support. This year, exceptionally, we also got 50% funding from the European Commission. So that was a huge bonus. But the Commission expects results. They don't just give money because they want to be generous and give money. They expect results. They are generous, but they want results. So this meeting has got to come up with some strong outcomes. Our speakers are exceptional. Not one of them gets paid. They all do this voluntarily. And if you have been around with us for some years, you will know what an exceptionally high caliber speaker we have. I've been very lucky because I've grown up over the last 10, 15 years with some of the most important men in medicine now. And I'm incredibly proud to call them my friends and my colleagues who support this conference. You, the attendees, because it would be very silly to sit in a room with nobody in it, and I know a lot of you, and I know how fantastically hard you all work. And thank you all for coming here. And above all, I have to thank my team and Julia, who have worked so hard to make this event happen. One always thinks, oh, it's not that difficult to put a conference on. You only have to do this and that, and my goodness, it isn't actually like that. It's hard work, and they have worked day and night. And Katja, who sits behind the screens there, who's again doing a fantastic job for us. She is the whole event coordinator. So thank you to my team, to young Matt sitting over there who had the shock of his life because he had to get up at 6 o'clock this morning. At 21, that doesn't happen. So thank you, Matt, for getting up early. I want to make this occasion feel like more of a family occasion, because this is what we are. We're a very big family of 25 groups. But out there, across the globe, there are many, many people, I hope, watching this conference, because we are live streaming across the globe. So I suppose we should really welcome them and say, wherever you are in the world, please, we look forward to you joining us. We have a possibility for you to email questions to us, to the panel, so please feel free. It's a pity we can't see you, and one day we might be able to afford screens where we can see you in your countries, but for the moment we have to have an anonymous situation. So we welcome the visitors from around the globe, and this conference will be up for 3 months online for you to be able to view it. The topics of this year's conference we spent a lot of time thinking about what we would discuss. It had to be different to last year, but at the same time, we needed to bring up important points that continue to be pressing. The title of our conference, Your Life, Your Responsibility, is quite a strong title, and we thought long and hard before we approved it. But we feel very strongly that each one of us as an individual is responsible for our health. It's not anybody else's responsibility, it is our responsibility to look after our bodies and to make sure that we do the best for this machine that keeps us alive. Unfortunately, some of us get very ill, but it's at this point that I think we must remember that we have to fight. We cannot give in. We have to be powerful. As a patient group representing colorectal cancer, we have to be empowered and not give in to our illness. And in this room are some patients who I know very well, who have survived and fought very, very hard and pushed barriers back very strongly in order to get best treatment and care. And I would hope that by the end of this conference, there's a lot of people that walk out of here, and those that are watching across the world, that they will feel more empowered. I am getting my signals that I have run over, and I don't want to be the person who gets into trouble first. So I'd like to pass the microphone over to Mr. Petru Luhan, MEP, who Professor Van Kutsen told you this year won the prize for health. We've known Petru Luhan for just over a year, and he has been incredibly supportive of Europa Colon. And I am very grateful to him for the help he has given us, because he's opened doors for us in the Parliament. So, Petru, can I invite you to the podium? And I look forward to the next 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. I hope you hear me. Well, I'm pleased to be here. I just arrived 1.5 hours ago from Strasbourg, where we had a quite busy plenary sitting week. And, well, I so much appreciate Europa Colon, but also Global Colon Cancer Alliance, which tried the best to get in touch with all the responsibles, to get them all at the same table, all the relevant stakeholders, in order to achieve concrete results. And this is real effort. This kind of efforts we need to put in order to have concrete results in place. But nothing will be possible without the concrete information from the patients, from your side. Because a politician or someone who is giving money in order to achieve some objectives will not be able to do so without the technical information which you have more than the politicians have. A politician from one seat in the middle of Brussels or in the middle of a capital city will not be able to elaborate a proper legislative framework suitable to your needs without your contribution. And this is my first point, because we need you in order to have concrete legislation in place. Not only money, not only strategies, not only conferences, but we need all together, like input from the patient side, I mean the problems and the needs. We need at the same time technological progress, and this could be done through more research and development at the European level. We need more budgets, and at the same time we need a concrete and suitable legislative framework. And now the problem is I have the feeling that everyone is looking at everyone and is waiting that someone takes the responsibility and is leading the new concept in order to achieve concrete results. And there we are. That's my feeling, actually. And that's why I decided to get more and more involved in fighting against cancer in general. And I'm more than happy to be the winner of the MEP Awards 2013 on the category health, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not coming from this area, but I think health is the best good, is the best value of the European citizens. And this is no matter if you are affected by cancer or any other diseases, or you are healthy, you are interested in concrete solutions for for fighting against these kind of diseases. Well, in the last period of time, from political point of view, I could say even the health area has suffered a lot. has suffered because crisis led to budgetary cuts at national and European level, because there are huge discrepancies between member states in terms of infrastructure, medical infrastructure, and even the research and development budgets decreased a lot, even from the private sector. And that means it's not a very rosa, a very good situation, good starting point, good position at the time, but we don't have to give up, and we have to come together to find the common way. Another problem is that the economic crisis has an impact on the European and the national budget for the future. But nevertheless, we can give you a positive information now. We will have for the next programming period, 2014-2020, not less than 87 billion euros for research and development on the program Horizon 2020. A big part of it will be allocated for health area, for research and development in this area. And we have another 64 billion euros from the national structural funds allocated for research and development. Because you might know that the European Union aims to spend not less than 3% of every member state's GDP on research and development and innovation activities. That's why this is, let's say, the good news. My position is that we need to find a leader. We need to find someone, and why not these kind of associations like Europa Colon or Global Colon Cancer Alliance. Why not even including the Personalized Medicine Alliance and so on. Getting all together, find the proper and the relevant stakeholders and try to have a common concept. This is my advice to all of you, because otherwise if you work everyone in its way and its direction, will never be able to find common solution which will be then applicable for the patients. I so much appreciate those patients who survived, who have shown to others that through efforts and involvement and belief and finding proactively solutions can fight and can even win the battle against cancer. And these patients should be taken as examples for others who sometimes maybe are morally down and they are not able, because they don't have these abilities, survive and win the battle. Another point which is very important from my point of view is that we need a kind of guideline, common guideline, which I intend to do for the next programming period, 2014-2020. We need like a handbook, if you want, a handbook which should be then distributed in the whole European Union, in every member state's official language. On the one hand, to know how to prevent the appearance of these kind of diseases, and at the same time, what kind of possibilities do we have to treat it? For me, it's very important, and that's also one reason why I got awarded this year. I stand for equal access to treatment of a high and equal quality for all European citizens, no matter what country they come from and what buying power they have. Because we all know that there are huge differences in terms of average incomes at European member states level. And that's why these guidelines should reach everyone, no matter if the people are suffering already on cancer or not. That could be a step ahead. People get aware about what's possible to happen and what's possible to do against it, and what's possible to do when you already are affected by cancer. Not only by cancer, but many other diseases as well. And last but not least, you need also information about financing of different activities in order to prevent or in order to treat certain diseases. And we also will include in this guide all the centers at European level where you can get treated suffering from especially certain diseases. Because we all know, for instance, I was the first one at European level getting through a written declaration on multiple sclerosis. You might know or not, only 6 member states from out of 28 now have the science in this field. And to treat this disease, not to treat actually, to slow down the evolution of this disease, it takes like about between 1,200 and 1,600 euros per month for one patient. And in some countries, the healthcare systems do not support it. What does it mean for those who are affected by this disease? They are like hopeless, and they will never have the chance to get treated. And this is exactly, and I always take the example of my own country, Romania, where the average income is 385 euros per month. And if you think about those about 6,000 people affected, which we know, but there are another 8,000 or 10,000 people which are not registered. There is also a lack of registers at among member states of the European Union. You might remember, you might see that it's almost impossible to get treated. They cannot pay by themselves, and if the state is not taking over the costs, that's a situation we will never wish to someone to have. And that's why I think these kind of regulations at European level are really needed, but in order to have clear and applicable regulations, we need your input. And that's why I suppose I repeat that, I'm repeating that for the third time now. We need all the stakeholders at the same table and get to common results. Well, I'll be here for the next 2 days. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you so much for organizing this kind of meetings which are useful, and I would be more than happy to get also the inputs you get over those 2 years, which I will not be able to participate in all of them, but to take them over and to push up the Commission, the European Commission, which is the executive power of the European Union, to do something. We cannot always say the functioning treaty of the European Union does not foresee health as EU competence. No, we have a DG Health and Consumer Protection. This DG has also budgets. This DG has the ability to order some studies and to provide them to the national governments. But if we don't push up, let's say, nothing will happen. But in order to be able to push up, I think your input is very important. I will stop here. I'm already over the time. Thanks a lot for inviting me, and I'll be more than happy to get also your questions.
You know, every time I meet Mr. Luan, I hear about the billions, and I think, how am I going to get my hands on them? We need to get our hands on those billions. So, having heard from Mr. Luan how we have to all join together to try and make a better place for patients, I'd like to introduce you to Professor Tit Albrecht, who will be chairing the next session. Tit and I met some time back in Slovenia. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I got lost by my close. Sorry. there you go, my first mistake of the day. Barbara, the most important person on this panel, and I am so sorry. This is the lady who has the patient's story. I will leave you to, she will tell you her story.
Good afternoon. I'm Barbara Moss, a colorectal cancer survivor and chair of the Europa Colon Patient Advisory Group. I never knew I had cancer. I was diagnosed in 2006 with stage 4 colorectal cancer and given 3 to 5 months to live. At that time, I'd been happily working as a teacher, and in fact, I was working the day before I was told this news. I was told I had terminal cancer on top of it, cancer of the colon that had spread to my liver. My husband and 2 sons were in a complete state of shock. None of us were prepared for this. None of us expected anything like this. Does anybody expect to get cancer? I was quickly treated with 2 courses of chemotherapy. The first failed to work. The second worked to a point. But I'll tell you more about that later on today. It was my surgeon who gave me the motivation that I needed to find out more about new medicines. He told me at that point my tumour was the size of a grapefruit, 10 by 15 centimetres in my liver, and that if it was smaller, it would operate. This was what I needed. It gave me the goal I needed to strive for. It gave me strength. And it gave me motivation. I was encouraged by the love of my family and the warmth and the support that this gave me. I had brilliant clinicians. So, coupled with all these things, I was given the strength to take responsibility for my disease. I was determined to survive. It's been a long and challenging journey at times, but it's given me insights, highs and lows, and I'm delighted to be able to contribute back to others, which I do in presentations and speeches that I give, and in the book that I've written, Who's Been Peeping in My Bed, which I've written for the charities who've helped me. And most recently, now, as chair of the Europa Colon Advisory Patient Group. I have life, my life, because I was involved in making decisions about my treatment. I took responsibility for it. One of my key aims as chair of the Patient Advisor Group is really to help other patients to realize the importance of taking the responsibility. I'll be around for the whole of the conference, and if anyone wants to speak to me, please do, and I'm happy to share my experiences later today. I'll be talking a little bit more in the debate on personalised medicine this afternoon. Thank you all.